This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Thursday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central on Thursday, January 9th. I was a little discombobulated today, but it will be A-OK. We invite you all to jump in and join us on my own social media machines at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or you can find us on the Bama Central YouTube channel at Bama Central, or of course on your favorite podcast platforms, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We are live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. You can find us off of McFarland Boulevard right here, past the Tiger Rock on the left, up Highway 69 North, past the Tiger Rock on the left. I know my boy Red is upstairs right now waiting to take your phone call at 205-758-3391 to answer all your insurance needs. We're so proud to be in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Mason Woods has been my lifesaver this morning, getting me out of a big jam with an automobile. Golly, you think you have a pretty, look, I'll just say it, successful first date, and then the car dies on the side of the road, and you're wondering what in the world happens. Thank the Lord for parents and friends, and everything's going to be A-OK. So with that, we're here. Follow Mason Woods at @MAWoods_. If you don't follow him just because he's a good guy, follow him because of his recruiting rundown and his recruiting reporting for Alabama, Missouri, Mississippi, Miami, and Boston College. Mason, fun morning this morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We had a good time. You know, we had to go pick up the downed vehicle, or figure out what to do with it. And it's been a good morning. Happy to get in here and maybe talk about some good things today.
Absolutely. So there's a handful of things to talk about. One big thing is the Alabama basketball team got off to a great start. 2-0 start in the SEC. And so you are rocking and rolling after beating South Carolina 88-68. You're now 2-0 in the SEC, along with several, 4 or 5 other teams. Where are my standings right there? Conferences, SEC, there's about 5 teams I saw. It's Auburn, it's Texas A&M, right? Yeah, it's Texas A&M, it's Ole Miss, it's Alabama, Mississippi State, and Auburn are all undefeated, 2-0, and obviously so early. But you got to start on the right foot. You go on the road, and you take it to South Carolina, 88-68. We'll talk about the basketball game. We'll flip to football. There's 2 more players that made announcements. One is actually interesting. I don't know how impactful Jamarian Latham is, but I thought he was out of eligibility, and for him to say that he's not, great. Then that means that at least one person on this roster in 2025 is a national champion, and I think that you are down to just one person on the roster with Jamarian Latham. So you get Jamarian Latham and Jeremy Bernard also putting out his little Instagram as well. So we'll talk about those guys, and we will hit the college football playoff. Will the Flu take down Notre Dame? Oh, man, we'll talk about that. So with that, we're in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. We told you that already. You call Derek for your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Let's get into Alabama basketball. 88-68 last night, Mason Woods. You hold the home team to .971 points per possession. In the first half, you're at .90, and in the second half, you are at 1.0. So good little first half. Slacked off in the second, as we have seen all year long, but the first half punch ends up 45-28, holding you under 30 points South Carolina, and we're pushing 50 Alabama. First half punch is enough. You end up second half 43-40, kind of cruising a little bit, but you cruise to a 20-point victory. All the Alabama gamblers are happy. They cover the 9.5, and everybody travels back to Tuscaloosa happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think while there was an obvious bit of that kind of typical lull we've seen, and I think Nate Oates had a bit of an answer for it, and maybe we'll get into the nitty gritty of that here in just a second. But you saw a little bit of that from Alabama last night, but I don't think you saw it quite as much as we have recently. I think you are maybe seeing them work through that just more and more as we just continue to get through this schedule. You've kind of been saying the whole time that, just kind of give it time, let them get in the schedule. They're still trying to figure everything out. And maybe that was the case because it looks like, just the second SEC game in, they looked better than they did in the first. So hopefully they continue to build on that as the competition gets a lot harder.
Only 11 turnovers offensively. You out-rebounded them 36-33. Excuse me. Off your 11 offensive rebounds, you only did get 9 second chance points, but goodness gracious, you crushed them in the paint. 48 points in the paint, and this Alabama team is so deep. You see it right there. Bench points, 39 bench points to South Carolina's 4. Your starters, LeBaron, Mark, Grant, Cliff Amoria, and Jaron. So basically, you're Aiden Holloway, Chris Youngblood, Mo Diabate, Sherelle, Darian Reed, and all combined for 39 points. Basically, you come in waves, and you just kind of alluded to it. The slow start defensively in the first half, or in the second half, he goes and subs 5 guys off, and then they have an error, and he hits a timeout, and he just rants and raves.
Yeah.
And I think they were a little bit better. They didn't give up as many easy buckets the rest of the second half.
Shot really well last night too.
Yeah, 55%. I mean, you didn't take that many threes.
Yeah, but you made them count.
But if you can take almost 50%, 8 of 19, that's 42%. Shoot, that's incredible. If you shoot 42% from the 3-point line, that's 4 for Mark, 4 of 6, 1 for Aiden Sherelle, that's 1 for Youngblood, that's 1 for Holloway, and that's 1 for LeBaron.
Still waiting on Youngblood to really get it unlocked. It's coming though.
I think so too. Just keep shooting it, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep shooting it. As soon as once he gets that game speed and once he gets that, I'm comfortable, and
he's gonna explode for 6 one game.
And preferably, I don't mind if it takes all the way to the SEC tournament.
Sure.
And then it's just I'm in Nashville and I've finally got all the rust off, and and it starts weapon, and it is just nuclear bomb on you. That would be my preferred. Really, actually, maybe wait till those last 3 games of the regular season. Because goodness gracious, at Tennessee, at Florida, at home, and at Auburn, that'd be a great place for him to start catching fire.
Yeah.
This schedule is brutal for Alabama. It's very. I mean, happy to win last night, and you should have won last night. South Carolina was a lesser team, but you have seen struggles on the road. Texas A&M goes to Oklahoma and nearly loses to a lesser team, goes and pulls it out, gets ahead of the Sooners with 4, 5, 6 minutes left by 1, and then just drags it out, wins by 2 or 3 over Oklahoma. I just think that you've seen over this 2-day period, Tuesday, Wednesday, how difficult it's going to be on the road all year long, particularly in midweeks when you've traveled. Saturday games are a little bit different because they've got a little different feel. You're traveling for the weekend. That's not as strange. But you're in the middle of your, routine. That's a little odd. And so I think it's always, no matter what, every game that you see on Alabama's schedule that says at anyone, it's going to be tough. Whether that anyone has a number beside them or not, whether that anyone has a good record or not, I think it's going to be tough. So you got to commend the team for coming out, playing well, saying, "Hey, we've got this first half punch in our bag, and we're going to utilize it and basically get on out of here with a win."
I mean, yeah, they were, one of very few SEC teams in these first few games to get a 20-point win like this. Mississippi State got a 30-point win against South Carolina, and other than that, it's been pretty tight contest throughout.
You talk about 3-point shooting, 6 of 11 in the first half, in that first half punch. So you only hit 2 more the rest of the game, but you made over half in the first half to get on out in front of South Carolina and put them to bed.
it's just hopefully a preview of what is to come maybe for this team as they just continue to get further and further into the season, get more and more locked in to the game flow and everything.
All right, so their best player, obviously, Studi wasn't playing, but let's see how to click back out of that game. That's what I want. Murray Boyles, Colin Murray Boyles, into the game with 6 points, 1 of 6 on the day. He was 1 of 3 in the first half, 0 of 3 in the second half. That's on Mo D. That's on Jaron Stevenson. That's on really that mixture of guys. A little bit of Grant Nelson mixed in there. A little bit of Darian Reed mixed in there. And so we got to ask Mason Woods. Let's take this basketball conversation a little bit bigger picture. Because Jeremiah Fears in the first SEC game was Oklahoma's big scorer, gets held to, I think he ended up with 16, so he had a good day, but he had like 1 point through like bleeping almost through 10-minute mark in the second half.
Yeah,
like it took him a long time to get going. He had like 1 point at halftime. So point being, they did a good job on their best scorer. All right, we'll take a step back. We look at the season in the non-conference play, and you saw Rutgers, you saw their scorers light Alabama on fire. You saw Chason Eaglestaff light Alabama on fire. Just as far as like one guy, who's the hot guy, who's their best scorer, basically in the non-conference play, got off without any repercussion, without any resistance.
Yeah.
And now we've flipped into SEC play, and you've seen their best player. Now, obviously, I think their best player is Studi, who was injured last night. So then their default best player becomes this Colin Murray Boyle, kind of mid-level post player, athletic post guy. He ends the game 4 for 4 from the free throw line. So that's how he got most of his points. He made a bucket in the first half, and made a bunch of free throws. Other than that, you shut him down. What's changed? I mean, you heard Coach Oates. We listened to his press conference, kind of get warmed up to get going, and he talked about personal pride. He blamed or credited Brian Adams, the defensive coach who's come from the NBA, and then he started crediting several individual defenders, particularly last night, Modi Abate. He talked about Mo D, Darian Reed, and LeBaron Philon, all kind of taking it upon themselves to start to turn the tide.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I maybe you just look across the league and you just see the fierce competition, and maybe that kind of forces the team to realize you're really going to have to lock in now that conference play is here. You're maybe going to have to take it a little more seriously than you've been taking games up to this point, and maybe that's maybe this is the result of that. I would like to think that hopefully they were giving their all in all the games prior to this. And sure they were, but also I think there were definitely moments where maybe they were relying a bit on their just how much better they were than some teams on paper rather than actually going out there and beating them. I really don't know, like schematically or looking at it, I'm trying to, looking here at the minutes.
I'm not a basketball expert at that level.
Yeah, I mean, like it's still, it's still a pretty big rotation. We haven't really seen it trimmed down all that much. You saw Houston Millette get limited minutes, but I think that maybe is again just a sickness thing potentially. Who knows? I don't know. I think it's just the pressure of conference play and seeing how good the rest of the SEC is, and knowing that these games really every one of them matters, and you can't afford to drop any kind of a random midweek games like this to a South Carolina. You're going to have to win those, because these will be the games that decide the difference at the end of the year on who's the regular season champion or not.
1,000%. When you start your season, and I don't want to disrespect Oklahoma or South Carolina, but when you start your season with those two on your schedule, boy, you better go 2-0, and boy, you better you can't. Like, I like the fact that they did in both these games come out first half haymaker and say, if you can dig back into it in the second half, I guess we'll start playing. We'll see if we want to flip the switch. But neither team had the firepower. So good little start to conference play.
Yeah, I feel good about where they are.
We'll hear from Nate Oates and company, probably just Coach Oates, on Friday before they take off for Texas A&M. Maybe on Thursday, but I think on Friday. No, today is Thursday. I haven't got an email yet. We'll probably hear from them tomorrow. Excuse me.
3 ranked teams. This is one of, well, I guess you talked about that 3-game stretch at the end of the season. That's just a 5-game stretch actually of ranked matchups there. So this is it's not going to be easy in the SEC.
The schedule's nasty. But you look across the league on Saturday. We'll just kind of peek at it before we move on. Alabama's at A&M on Saturday at 7 p.m. That's probably going to be your most marquee matchup of the day. The Auburn Tigers are at South Carolina, so they'll get a little taste of what Alabama was at on Tuesday. I'd expect Auburn, not South Carolina. I expect Auburn to roll pretty handily. Vanderbilt is at Missouri at 2:30. Florida, number 8, Florida is at Arkansas at 3 p.m. Number 1, Tennessee. They won't be number 1 any longer when the new poll comes out after losing so badly this past week. But number 1, Tennessee is at Texas at 5 o'clock. We'll see what you do. Back-to-back road games. Texas gave Auburn a lot of hard time on the road this week. If they can get
who's the real UT?
Yeah, and you got Rick Barnes coming back to Texas.
Ooh.
That's going to be a really juicy storyline. Tennessee, do you go 0-2 in a week? That's
man, that'd be a tough start for the Vols. I would hate it for them.
Oh, so much. I'd be crying. I'd be just so crying. Number 17, Oklahoma is at Georgia at 5 o'clock. Georgia proven to be a tough place to play. And LSU is at, number 3, Ole Miss. It's 5 o'clock as well. And then at 7:30, got the hiccups today. At 7:30, number 6, Kentucky is at number 14, Mississippi State. So you got a couple of really good games. Kentucky, Mississippi State, Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida, Arkansas, and Tennessee, Texas all stand out to me as kind of a slate of 4 that I'll be paying attention to over the week. The reason I'll look at the slate really is to compare it to the standings. Auburn, don't think they're going to lose. Alabama, A&M, boom, both 2-0. That's going to be a big time deal. You got, where's my other 2-0s? Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Mississippi State, you got a chance for Mississippi State to lose at home to Kentucky. Now, they could win, and if they do, then you got to keep pace with them. But Ole Miss is at home with LSU. They will probably beat the doors off LSU at home, if I had to guess.
Most likely.
And so you got to keep pace with them. He makes it for a huge game. Not only are you trying to knock Texas A&M down a peg, but you're trying to keep pace with the two Mississippi schools. You're trying to keep pace with Auburn, and the race is on, baby. You're 2 games on, and the race is on.
The leader of this league is going to change day to day, basically, with each round of games. It's going to be probably like it, very similar to how it is now. 5-6 teams kind of right there at the top with that tied record, and it will just be swapping out 1 for 1 each week.
Tiebreakers will start to come into a factor in about 2 weeks, and you'll start playing how many games you got left at the end, middle of February.
It's going to be a lot of fun, like math for Bama Hoops fans to have to do here.
As you were driving me around so graciously, I was looking through January, February, and the 3 games in March. The Alabama, it's nasty, the Alabama schedule. And it's just because the league is so dang good.
You look around, everybody's got an insane schedule pretty much. It's not, there's not really any recourse from it.
So will the winner be a 4-loss team? Do you just got to try to stay under the 4 losses as best you can?
That feels like a pretty good baseline. I mean,
get the right wins and stay under the 4-loss mark.
If we're looking at those 4 losses, you drop 1 to Kentucky, 1 to Auburn, Tennessee, and Florida. Those are your 4, maybe.
Yeah, you could give a home and home in Florida, right? Yeah, you're home and home in Florida, so you're at Florida, you're at Tennessee. Those 2 look very challenging. You're at Auburn, that looks very challenging. And then you never know. I mean, going to
Texas A&M is not.
This Saturday is going to be tough.
Yeah, going to Mississippi State.
They've had your number before. Nate has not really done well at A&M in his career here. Alabama basketball, because we can pull this up real quick, versus Texas A&M history. It's going to be on the Roll Tide site, and I can find this real easily. The last handful of times that you've gone out there have not really been kind. Yeah, here we go. Neutral, home, away at College Station, March
Another one
4th,
particular interesting, so-
2022-23. You lost 67-61. Then boom, boom, boom at College Station, postponed. And then so he's 0-2 out there because you also have 2018-19. I think that was his first season. You're out at College Station. You lose 65-56. And then the last time you're out there before that was 17-18. I think that's before him. So he's been out there twice, according to this sheet here, and lost both times. It's not a kind place, and they play a really slow, nasty style. Now, Wade Taylor didn't play in this game against Oklahoma this week. So if Wade Taylor doesn't play, that's going to give a real advantage to Alabama. Huge. But if he does, I think you're going to be in for a dogfight.
Yeah, this is this is very obviously the toughest conference test that Alabama's had through the first 3 games. And we will kind of get to see a little bit what this team is made of because, while Texas A&M is very good and they'll be one of these teams near
They're made of blue collar, baby.
They'll be close to the top of the conference standings likely at the end of the year. They are not in that same tier as like Auburn and Florida and Tennessee, really, where Bama needs to win this. They got to get this win. This is one of those kind of, you lump them in with the South Carolinas and the Oklahomas. Like, you got to win these ones.
All right. So what do you think? That's enough basketball? You got any hoops thoughts from last night? I know that you were watching it in and out. Anything that I've left off the table for you?
No, it was we mentioned it, but it was just it was very encouraging to see the 3-point outburst in the first half. Maybe that continues as we as they play some harder competition here.
One thing we didn't note, my fellas, my friends, how much time are we spending at the free throw line in practice?
Oh,
my friends.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And look, this is coming from, I am not a basketball expert. So, and you might, the team might be spending hours. Maybe.
They need to be spending more hours.
Yes. Whatever it is, double.
Nobody should be able to leave practice until you make 1,000 free throws.
10 of 20. Now, okay, you get to the line 20 times and coach, I don't think he heard the question correctly. Nick Kelly asked him about the free throws, and Nick was getting at the 10 of 20. I think coach was hearing the lack of free throw attempts because Alabama only took 20 to South Carolina's 25. And he was talking about, getting downhill. I thought we did okay. And obviously there's calls I'm going to disagree with, but, it's a whistle and it was fine.
Maybe he just didn't want to answer why the shot.
Yeah, maybe he twisted it in his brain. Absolutely. 10 of 20?
I do wonder, because
what's the deal? Because these guys are good players.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly talented. They're clearly good offensive.
Sure. And I guarantee, if you just plucked one out of, wherever they are, picked one out of class and said, hey, need you to shoot a free throw for me, he'd probably drain it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's for whatever reason, they can't do it that consistently when there's a little bit of pressure on them in a game, when maybe you're a little tired, maybe it's whatever it is. And I don't, like I said, like we've both said, we're not basketball experts. I don't know what goes into being.
I mean, my free throw percentage is probably, you give me 10 free throws, 40 or 50%.
That's common. That's about where I feel I'd be.
If I'm having a great day, it's 60 or 70%. So I'm not one to talk here, but I'm not a basketball player.
No.
I've seen Mark make a really high clip. Now he's 4-6. He's 4-5 last night, so that's as good as anyone else. But you go 1 of 3 from Jaren, you go 1 of 3 from Modi, you go 1 of 3 from Darion Reed. So that's 3 of 9 from those 3 players. And of course, you get your 0 of 1 from Aiden Sherrill. Thank you for your service. You get your 0 of 1 from Grant Nelson. Thank you for your service. And your 1 of 2 from LeBaron Philon. Thank you for your service. So the sample size is small for Grant, and for Aiden. I didn't read. Yeah, no, for Grant and for Aiden, 0 of 1 and 0 of 1. And your sample size is relatively small for LeBaron at 1 of 2. Good sample size for Mark, 4 or 5. And okay, we'll take 4 or 5 all day long. That's you check Mark, you're in the clear, 80%. All right, good. But these are, so it is a smaller sample size. Boy, it's been a problem all year long.
Sure. Yeah. It's
We started to eliminate some problems. We were cutting down turnover problems. We're cutting down shot selection issue problems. We're cutting down on defensive miscue problems.
Mhm.
This is the next major problem that you got to really, because, okay, you won by 20, but you're 10 of 20. What happened? Well, you go 18 of 20.
I mean,
Max Chernowski gets in this game if you're 18 of 20.
yeah, it's frustrating to see this team kind of consistently throughout this season not do things that on the surface look like pretty simple fixes. They just almost want to run away from them and just ignore them and be like, well, look over here. We can make a bunch of 3-pointers. Or look at all these athletes we have. But when you boil it down, it's like, yeah, cool. That's fine. But maybe let's make the free throws. Maybe let's not turn the ball over. Maybe let's put a full 40 minutes out there of effort. So yeah, it is frustrating, and I just wonder how you go about fixing it, or if you really address,
You
'cause
can't be 50%. You have to fix that.
Yeah, but like I said, these are not. I don't know. It's not like any of these guys are bad at shooting free throws objectively. I think if you plucked it, like we said, if you plucked most of them out, they'd probably be able to drain you 8 out of 10 free throws if you ask them to, just randomly. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's like a weird, they're getting in their own head kind of deal, or maybe you do just need to say, all right, nobody's allowed to leave the practice facility today until you make 100 free throws, whatever it is. I don't know. I imagine it's a lot of muscle memory from just doing it so much, repetition. Maybe they haven't done it enough.
What do we think on the season they are? Because
I had to just ballpark it.
Yeah, as a team, just
say-
give me a percentage here.
I'm gonna say 73.
Field goal. That's 3-point. They, as a team, you said 73.
Mhm.
As a team, they have made 276 free throws. They have taken 396 for a percentage of 69%.
Mm.
That's not as nice as I want.
No, that's.
69. Can we take it
That needs
as a
to be an
team
82
to
at least.
78?
Sure, I'll you know what? I'll even allow that.
77, 78. Can we bump it by 8
Ah.
percentage? Can
I mean,
we
that's-
get to passing? A passing
Yeah.
grade. Look, where I come from, I know in the state of Alabama there were D's, right? In public school, didn't y'all have D's? I didn't go to school with a D. Once you get
Oh.
70, 69 is an F. So, buddy, we got to get a passing grade. 69 might be nice and fun, but like we got to get to 77, 78 out of the academic doghouse at the free throw line. I'm irritated by that.
Yeah, it is frustrating because again, it seems like it's such a simple, hey man, like just lock in, make your free throws. And I'm sure millions of people have yelled that at their televisions for decades.
Make your free throw.
But there is a reason, and this is a cliche, but there's a reason that they're called free throws.
Let's look at this. Look at this. All right, Aiden Sherrill. Let's play a game. First number that comes to your mind. I've got all the percentages right here. First number that comes to your mind. Aiden Sherrill. Boom.
For free throws?
Yeah, free throw percentage.
61.
46.
Ooh.
Jaron Stevenson.
50.
53. Modi Abate.
72.
73. You're on
Ooh.
it, baby. Chris Youngblood.
80.
100%. That's my guy.
Nice. Love
Cliff
it.
Amori.
68.
65. You're in the
Ooh.
game. Darian Reed.
78.
50.
Oh, that's awful, Darian.
Aiden Holloway.
70.
76.
Okay.
Latrell Wright. So what did he finish his year with? Really nice.
Really nice. 69.
85. I like it. LeBaron Philon was not so nice.
Ooh, 70.
69. Grant Nelson,
He's right in that probably 69 range.
66.
Yeah.
And Mark Sears,
Mark Sears, 84.
81.
Okay.
A little lower than I'd like from Mark as well, but like not unacceptable.
No.
Passing grade.
Chris Youngblood, teach these boys.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Youngblood 6 of 6. All right, so small sample size, but
Sure.
6 of 6. We're up to the line. This is an automatic shot. This is a shot that I have been making my entire life. I don't care about circumstances.
Mhm.
I don't care about crowd. I don't care about score. I don't care about time and date. I'm just making my free throws. I'm Chris Youngblood,
Yeah.
and this is automatic.
I need that. We need that from everyone on this team. At least all of the guards, please.
Darian Reed. Darian Reed, I
That's
have as
atrocious.
20 of 40 on the season.
That's really bad. That's bad.
They're still going to draft you, buddy, but that's
Yes,
going to
but-
be a black mark.
It is. Yeah, NBA does not put up with people that can't make free throws unless you are really exceptionally good elsewhere. And
I mean, he's a
you're-
great
you're
he's a great defender.
You're great.
A great defender, and I think a really good slasher.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that he's
I don't think
that good of a shooter at all.
Yeah.
Well, what are we making threes at? How many threes have you even taken? Let's see. You want to guess it? As I see it, I see it right here. It's not a good number.
What are we with? 14 games, 15 games?
Yep, he's taken
He's
29 of them.
Okay, I was gonna guess 23.
Okay, but how many of those 29 has he actually made?
8.
Ooh, bingo, 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 winner
Ooh,
for
man.
27%.
Golly, that's bad. That's not
Like
great.
my man, you're a great defender, and it's very, 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 very useful. Absolutely valuable on this team. You have a
extremely,
place.
yes.
Not pushing you out whatsoever.
And the NBA has a spot for you.
But could you possibly come back and improve your shooting?
That would be cool. I'd be all right with that. I don't think the NBA would be all that mad at that either.
They'll still be there. We'll see.
Saved a lot of money not signing AJ DeBonsa.
Dude, we need to do the dadgum football plan for basketball. You know, I saw. Made me so sad. Made me so sad. Made me just brokenhearted. I saw a tweet that said, if this were 1985, and they had
Oh,
a
man.
picture of Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney, and it said, if this were 1985, Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney would be juniors at Alabama. And I was just like, oh.
Brandon Miller Jr. year in college basketball.
Noah scored 29 last night in the NBA, his best night yet.
Whoo-wee. Man, both those guys would wreak havoc
So
on
take
college
the-
basketball right now.
Football plan. Darian, hey man, look, that money we were going to give Devanza, just come on back for a second season, improve
Gives
that
you a big
shooting,
chunk of it.
improve that shooting.
Man.
That'd be my move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, we've taken this basketball conversation a long way. We want to remind everybody where we are. We're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. You can find us off of McFarland Boulevard, past the Tiger Rock on the left, right here in Northport. You can call Derek and his team at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs: home, life, auto insurance, renters, boaters, whatever you like, anything in the insurance realm. Derek can help you and lead you into the right direction, what works best for you and your family. Call Derek and his team, Red Reese and Victoria. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel and State Farm is there at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason, let's flip gears real quick to football. Let's do kind of what we did yesterday. Two guys making announcements. We don't need to revisit the conversation about announcements. I mean, one, Jamarian Latham. But you get Jamarian Latham and you get Jeremy Bernard.
Yeah.
Your roster is becoming set. Let's use those announcements to look at the position rooms that they have now solidified. Do you want to start on the offensive or defensive side of the ball? I mean, I know Jeremy's your guy.
Yeah, we can. Let's start with Jeremy because I think that's. I think it's great. You know, he did wind up being the team's leading receiver this year, despite what a lot of people may shout in your ear about Ryan Williams. Jeremy was awesome. It took him a little bit to get started. Took him a little bit to build up some chemistry with Jalen Milroe throughout the year. But as he did, he really wound up being a very reliable receiver. He is extreme. He's very sure-handed. He gets open. He's doesn't really wow you with like overly athletic plays or speed or anything like that, but he's just a really solid target. I love what he does. He's just kind of a great like safety net option on a lot of plays. And then, he does his fair share of getting wide open and catching bombs. It's great for this offense. I think he will very much help whoever the quarterback is going to be, just being a veteran presence out there.
When's the last time you went to rolltide.com? Because I'm discovering something.
No, it's been a minute.
And it's fine. But the roster's fairly up to date. And so your wide receivers on the roster right now, Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Cole Adams, Rico Scott, Jalen Hale, and Arian Bubba Hampton. You got several walk-ons after that. We'll give them a dude. Jay Loper, Caleb Fleming, and MJ Chargwin, Miguel Camoy, and Cooper Mollison, and Colby Cruz. Great job, guys. Thanks for your service. But really, the focus is on those scholarship guys. We'll go back to them real quick. Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Cole Adams, Rico Scott, Jalen Hale, and Bubba Hampton. And then you throw in Latia Brooks, you throw in Derek Meadows, and you throw in Isaiah Horton from Miami. Is there one I'm missing? I think that's it. I
believe that is it. I think that's it. I mean, I guess Jalen Mbakwe is joining.
Oh, sure. Yes, thank you very much. Mbakwe is, I think the split's going to be more 90-10 offensive way, 80-10 offensive way. I think he'll play specialized defensive situations, maybe, like end of half, like, oh, shoot, Hail Mary, throw this guy out here. He can bat the ball down or track the ball kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty much going to be an offensive player. But that's just a guess for now and can move. I just read off those lists of guys, a bunch of scholarship guys. Everybody after portal day number 3. Well, look at how many weapons you're losing, Kendrick Law. Well, what about this group? This group is bad. Yeah. This group is bad to the bone.
If you like Kendrick Law, you need to go watch some Latia Brooks tape.
You need to watch him. I mean, I don't know what happened to Bubba Hampton in practice, so I don't know what his injury status is going to be. But you need to watch him, Bubba Hampton. That boy is mean with the ball.
Yeah. Bama fans,
he's good. They are good. Like they're fine talent-wise.
Yes, you should have no concern. If anything, sure, you can say they're inexperienced, whatever, but you cannot say that it's not a talented room.
Yes, all over the place. You got Jeremy and you got Ryan back, so like, okay, what else are you asking for? Honestly, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I got my first and second best receiver back for the next year. What else? Be serious with yourself for a second with the transfer portal and everything else that goes involved with that. So you get him back, and
best running back as well.
You have Cole Adams, Mr. Do It All, Mr. I'm the Gadget fella. Look. That was a big loss for the offense last year. That was a big loss because I think that he could have become a guy that Jalen Milroe, like we all know, whatever, all his issues. He could have become a guy that even if I'm zeroed in, dead on Cole Adams, I'm going to watch you and hold the ball. I think if Jalen could have read Cole Adams and learned him underneath, it wouldn't have mattered because Cole – maybe this is bias and maybe this is perception, but I think Cole Adams is a little route running merchant. And if you just follow him underneath, if you want to man him up, okay, fine. Let him go on an option route. And I think Jalen could have operated on that all
he'll find you a window to throw.
Right. And so losing him in this offense, I think, was a pretty big blow, despite, the low numbers in production. I think what could have become later in the year. I'm looking forward to having him back. I'm looking forward to year number 2, Rico Scott. I mean, he doesn't stick around for nothing. Isaiah Horton coming in.
I'm very, very excited about what he brings, just from a verticality threat. I mean, obviously being so big and hopefully pairing him with a fellow person who's very, very tall in Austin Mack. We'll see. I'm just going to keep putting that out there until it actually happens. I know you're listening, Nick. I know you're listening, Kalen. He's gonna just unlock it that much more. We've talked about what he had at Washington with that receiving core, which I mean, all of those guys now are great in the NFL,
except for you, Jalen Polk.
Jalen Polk is okay.
Stayed on my fantasy bench all year long, waiting for you to do something.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I think this is. Anyone, any bit of the program's in shambles is pure overreaction.
Kobe Prentice is gone. Okay,
there's a reason.
Right, right.
He was not part of this system. He was not part of what Kalen DeBoer's vision for this team was. Likely, there's a reason he didn't get that involved this past season, and there's a reason he was pretty quickly ushered into the transfer portal after the season concluded. This
Everything's
is
fine.
yes, this is all part of the process, part of getting a new coach in, part of having him build the roster, construct the roster the way that he wants.
Derek Meadows, it becomes more polished Caleb Odom 2.0.
This guy took Washington to a national championship, folks.
The wide receiver room is going to be good next
It's
year.
okay.
It's going to be, despite what you lost in the portal. I mean, I'll miss you, Amari Jefferson, but despite what you lost in the portal, like every other room in the program,
Yeah.
I think it's still pretty darn talented.
Yeah.
All right, let's flip it to defensive line, because Jamarian Latham, who I thought was out of eligibility.
Mhm.
I'm about to click on your Roll Tide Pro once I find you right there. DL. There we go. DL. There we go. There you go. Jermaine Latham. It was listed as a redshirt senior. So I have no idea how this works. You came in freshman in 20. Yeah. Sophomore in 21. I mean, you can, okay. Redshirted in 20.
Mhm.
Redshirt freshman in 21, redshirt sophomore in 22, redshirt junior in 23, redshirt senior in 24. So you've had your 5 years.
COVID year.
Is that
He got here in 2020. That's got to be what it is. He has to have a COVID year,
okay?
surely.
On our own Tide,
I would
Jamarian
think.
Latham from Pickens County Tornadoes,
Hey.
right down the road. Hey, we love a local player who makes an impact, and
I love the
they-
Pickens County Tornadoes.
yes, absolutely.
Some of my favorite high school football I've ever watched.
Maybe not the best, but fun.
Yes,
a lot
it's
of
just
fun.
extremely fun.
At Pickens County. But he comes from Pickens County, and okay, so he's got a 6th year as a COVID player. Gives Alabama a national champion in the room. I
Sure.
mean, goodness
Hey.
gracious, you lost Malachi Moore, and you lost Malachi, you lost Quandarius Robinson,
Mhm.
and I thought you were going to lose Jamarian Latham, but you do not. Great.
Yeah,
Listen to this.
it's just more veteran presence on this defense.
Who the heck is playing on this defensive line? Like, who's getting this playing time? Because Jamarian Latham, LT Overton, James Smith, Keon Keeley, Jordan Renaud, you got Jeremiah Beeman, you have Kelby Collins. Like, who the heck, did I say Tim Keenan? Who the heck is playing on this defensive line? Like, are you just two snaps and out, two
Yeah.
snaps and out, two snaps and
I mean,
out?
I think if I remember right, the first game or two of the season, we saw a lot more of that. Feels like there's a lot more of that kind of rotate, kind of get guys in and out. So maybe that's the plan. You just keep fresh legs on the field every down, basically.
You get 3 snaps and you're out.
I'm not mad at that,
Go wreck shop for 3 snaps, and then you're
Get you
coming
a
on the
little
sideline.
third long package together to send the dogs out there. I kind of like it.
Now, Jamarian Latham needs to get a lot of credit, because last year, when the Wolf position became really undermanned with transfer portal and with injury, he basically swapped from Bandit to Wolf and
Mhm.
gave up playing time starting Bandit to LT Overton. So you talk about a guy, like, no matter what he's able to do for you production-wise, I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
Do I think he's All-American, all conference? No, but I think he's a good player.
Mhm.
And I think he's good to get back on this team in 2025. Absolutely.
I mean, I think just for nothing else, leadership.
Yes, exactly. So we feel good about wide receiver.
Yeah.
We feel good about defensive line.
I
I still just think that year number 2 is going to look a whole lot
I
different.
have a very difficult time poking many holes in this team. I think, we talked about offensive line as maybe a bit of a question mark, but I don't really think it's necessarily a hole. I think because personally, I feel pretty good about Wilkin Formby stepping into that role at right tackle. And, there's just
Taco Casa has a lot of what you like.
you just feel good. You feel really, really good about the way this roster is coming together.
Do you think that if he gets a good block on somebody, he just sings that little jingle in their ear? Drive him. Taco Casa
That'd be good.
has a
That'd be
lot of
good.
what you like.
Maybe he you think he keeps packs of hot sauce on him or something, and he
Scorch it in their
Yeah.
eye.
goes out there with it rubbed on his fingers. That'd be good.
We did the offensive line stuff the other day, and we didn't even say Gino Vandermark.
Yeah.
I remember that. Well, I was like an hour or 2 later, and I was like, "Ooh, that was a miss." And he's going to be involved in that
Sure.
in that Tyler Booker replacement discussion.
I think he'll be serviceable there.
All right. Moving on and finishing up, we're here in the Darren Daniel State Farm Studios in the Joe Gaither Show. Follow us all right there on my Facebook at Joe Gaither6, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Send the show to a friend, subscribe, rate, review, all those good things. Tell somebody about the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We are finishing with the flu, Notre Dame, and Penn State. I was going to comfortably pick Notre Dame. Notre Dame a 1-point favorite tonight in the Orange Bowl, 6:30. But now reports are that the Fighting Irish are dealing with the flu. The flu is flying through the locker room, running rampant through the special teams unit and the walk-ons. Got to keep the walk-ons in quarantine. You guys can't be on the sidelines in this game. Sorry, guys. You worked so hard. You put all this effort in. We got to quarantine you away. Which walk-on was kissing a groupie, kissing a fan that maybe he shouldn't have been, and started spreading the flu
down to the French Quarter, having a good time.
Well, hey, in New Orleans, they were in New Orleans, absolutely. So they got the French Quarter flu, absolutely. Yeah. The walk-ons who knew they weren't playing enjoyed themselves, and why wouldn't you at that stage? No hate on you there, not saying that, but
this is the latest I'm seeing from Brandon Marcello here.
Tell us.
A few players and staff, quote, have had the flu or virus for the last 10 to 14 days.
Oh, they definitely got it in New Orleans.
It will have no impact on the game. Bo Collins was impacted in the Sugar Bowl, but played and was still on the mend during the game. I mean, I would, that sounds all fine and dandy. I think if this information got out at all, it may be a little worse than what they're telling folks. I would imagine. I don't think they're I don't know. I'm sure Notre Dame is maybe trying to sugarcoat how bad it sounds to not try to give any competitive advantage at all. This concerns me a bit. I don't know how many players on this team are just going to be sick as dogs out there because the flu is. I mean, everyone knows the flu is awful.
We are Penn State.
And this is one of those games that, is going to be a physical, just kind of slog. I thought Notre Dame was going to win by a touchdown or so. But, ooh, man, I don't love that now.
I'm still taking Notre Dame.
I'm still going to pick them.
By 4. 20, 24, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still going to roll with Notre Dame. But I don't feel as good about it.
Wake up the echoes praising her name.
We didn't mention the Tyler Warren could be like the X factor for Penn State. That's
tight end, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
is he that next Brock Bowers in the league?
He's really, really good. Yeah.
If he's their only passing option, and he kind of is, why can't anybody cover him?
I don't know, because he's that good.
He's not Jeremiah Smith good.
No. But he is just kind of a freak.
No linebacker, no safety can match me.
I think that is kind of what it is. Maybe they just have to bracket him with a corner all game.
6:30 tonight on ESPN. So that'll be for your viewing pleasure.
How many rush yards for Jeremiah Love?
The number that just popped in my head was 108.
Like it.
It just first thing that came to my head, 108.
And the win.
Yeah, I think so.
The fraudulent Nittany Lions out, which honestly they've earned their spot at this point.
James Franklin sitting right next to Marcus Freeman and says, "Oh, Notre Dame needs to join a conference," and they're just like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
I like it. Hey, they do.
Why?
Pony up, play with the big boys. It's so soft to skirt by on this. Ooh, we play USC every year. Okay.
And Stanford.
Boo.
They're big rivals. USC, Stanford.
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan and Michigan State.
Soft like Charmin. Whole program. Whole fan base.
No arguments there. No arguments there. All right, anything else on your mind? We are almost up on time, Mason Wood. Anything else you got for the people before we go watch some college football playoffs and fret over the transfer portal some more? No fretting. No more fretting over the transfer portal.
Yeah, don't even have to think about it anymore. It's great.
It's only incoming now until I guess spring window is next after practice.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. It was a pretty fun night watching Bama beat up on South Carolina. I feel pretty good about where this basketball team's headed.
Yeah, I think they took a good step.
Takeaway from
I think they took a big step. Absolutely. We will get out of here for the day. I want to thank Mason again for putting up with a lot of hooey, a lot of BS this morning, helping me out and saving my bacon for sure. So I want to shout him out publicly for that. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ for all of his recruiting takes, Tennessee Titans takes. We're going to track that number one pick, see who the Titans are going to hire as a general manager and all that good stuff. As we keep going. This is the Joe Gaither Show. Tomorrow we will talk about what happened in Notre Dame and Penn State. We will talk a little bit about Ohio State, Texas, and we will set you up a little more Alabama and Texas A&M and just find a few more topics right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and Bama's. Oh, before I leave, we did get a comment right here in the last 2 minutes. Special commenter, Melissa, the guy with the headphones has a really cool sweater. We love you too, Melissa. Mrs. Mason Woods comments on the sweater. And with that, we leave you with a good day. I hope you all have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.